Subaru Legacy Sport. Subaru is aiming this car at young first car buyers, so who better to review it than a young person who has already reviewed everything else in this segment. Today I'm going to walk you guys around the exterior and interior features and the performance specs and the different options and technologies you can get the new Subaru Legacy Sport with, and I'm going to help you decide if this is a better car than the Honda Accord, the Toyota Camry, and anything else you might be considering. So let's get right into the video. And you guessed it, under the hood, the Legacy is powered by the classic Subaru 2.5 liter Boxer 4. And Boxer just means that the pistons in the engine are laid out a little bit differently. It's kind of technical, but instead of moving up and down like a normal combustion engine, the pistons go side to side, sort of box at each other. And they say it's supposed to make the engine run a little bit smoother and sound a little bit better, but in practical terms, it just means you get this really cool looking spider type intake manifold and that your spark plugs are going to be a lot harder to change. You're not getting any extra power because of this layout, just 175 horsepower and 176 pound-feet of torque. Now, Subaru used to offer the Legacy with a manual transmission, but unfortunately that has gone away for 2019. Now you can only get it with a CVT. Fortunately, all the models, even the base trim level with no options whatsoever, come with a symmetrical all-wheel drive system, so it's really going to help you up north if it snows. Here in Florida, it means nothing. Now, because this is the Sport model, this particular Legacy is going to see quite a few really cool upgrades on the exterior of the car that you're not going to get on your base Legacy, and it might be worth the extra cost. And it starts in the front of the car. Now, obviously, you get all the normal standard features like these gorgeous LED daytime running lamps with the halogen bulbs inside, the fairly decent front fascia design, but the Sport model receives one really cool upgrade, and it's this gloss black grille outline. On the base model or on the upper premium trim levels, that's going to be chrome, which doesn't look bad, but it can feel a little bit cheap at times. Here with the gloss black on the Sport model, it's really stealthy and aggressive, and it really helps the front end of the car look a lot smoother and sportier. However, some more unique to Sport things happen here on the side of the car, where we've got a couple different upgrades. It's a fairly basic design. It's not really going to stand out on the road, but you put it up next to a regular Legacy, and there are going to be three things that are different on the Sport model. And that starts here with the mirror caps. On the base model, you just get kind of an ugly, cheap, matte black plastic mirror cap. Here with the Sport, it's upgraded to a silver chrome design. You also get upgraded wheels on the base model. They're just 17-inch steel wheels with caps on them. Looks kind of cheap. Here with the Sport model, they're upgraded to 18-inch alloys. And finally, you get an upgraded rocker panel here with a very nice chrome strip that's going to help flesh out the side of the car, make it look a little bit more sporty and aggressive. Unfortunately, the rear of the car does not feature a ton of upgrades, but you do get a pretty cool looking matte plastic diffuser back there with the gorgeous chrome exhaust tip, as well as those Subaru style taillights that look very similar to that WRX right next to me. All around, it is a decent design. There's not really anything that stands out too much, but on the Sport model there are a few upgrades that are going to help it look a little bit better than your base Legacy. Now, I should probably admit right up front in the interior of the new Legacy Sport that I've never been entirely impressed with the way Subaru does their interiors. And there's nothing inherently wrong with them. They come with a decent amount of features and technologies, and the layout is great. It's all great. But from the moment you touch that exterior door handle, it just feels like a cheap car. And it's difficult to portray on camera, but just everything you touch, it just seems a little bit lower quality than a Toyota or a Honda would. It's all hard plastics that just don't go together very well, and it just doesn't have that it factor, you know? There's nothing in here that stands out except all the plastic bits, and that's a little bit disappointing. Subaru offers a few different options for the materials in here. It's available with either cloth or leather trim like we see in this model, and of course you get a few different options for these accents as well. Since this is the Sport model, we see some nice fake carbon fiber accents, and I'm not really going to complain that they're fake because they look really cool with this blue contrast stitching. But if you don't go for the Sport model, you can also have gloss black or some sort of silver metallic plastic put there, and those look all right as well. Now, as standard in your base Legacy, these front seats are going to be 6-way manually adjustable, but because you paid extra for the Sport model, you get 10-way power adjustments. And I have to say, despite the lower quality feeling of the materials, even with this leather, they still put cloth on here. Despite that, they're still very comfortable. They offer plenty of lumbar support. The side bolsters, I feel, are the perfect size for a car like this. They're kind of sporty enough that they could hold you in if you wanted to go a little bit fast, but for just everyday driving, they're perfectly fine as well. They don't make it difficult to get in or out. As far as technology goes, you've got 3 different screens in this car. You have a very small one here for the climate controls, and then above that you've got a couple different options. You can have either a 6.5-inch infotainment touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, or you can upgrade it to an 8-inch infotainment touchscreen, which is actually what we see in this model. It's been optioned out with that optional upgraded infotainment system, and the last screen is there between the 2 analog style gauges on the gauge cluster. Now, right in front of that gauge cluster is where we see probably one of my favorite features of this interior, and it's this steering wheel. Because if there's one area where they actually made the materials and the build quality decent, it's the thing you're touching most often, and it's the steering wheel. I love the 3-spoke design. The plastic paddle shifters behind it feel surprisingly solid. You've got nice silver accents all around that make it feel slightly more premium. And just all around, it's a great design. I love the little paddles back here for the cruise control. They just fall right into place in your hand. Very ergonomic design, but it looks cool and sporty at the same time. Now on the center console area here, we've got a few interesting things I'd like to point out. You get 2 cup holders, a little change drawer, and a hidden compartment behind this folding trim piece that has 2 USB charge ports and an auxiliary jack for your phone. And you also get a very large storage area in here with a change drawer that doesn't slide around, unfortunately. Another 12-volt power outlet, decent amount of space in there. And then the rear seats get another compartment for the phone, as well as 2 more USB charge ports and plenty of legroom. Surprisingly, this car actually has way more legroom than the Honda Insight I reviewed just last week. Every Legacy except for the base trim level is going to get dual zone climate controls. You also have an optional sunroof up here. I believe it can move back and forth if you want to get a little bit of sunshine in here. And then finally, to top it all off, the rear of the car features that trunk with 15 cubic feet of cargo space. So it's a very practical car. It's a very nice car. It's got a great layout. The build quality, there's just something about it that doesn't feel right. So the new Subaru Legacy Sport is a great car, but if you ask me, the new Mazda 3 hatch is a lot better. The interior is just far higher quality, and you can check out my review of that car by clicking on the card right there. Special thanks to Fitzgerald Subaru here in Clearwater, Florida for providing me with this car to review today. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching.